So Michael Schwab, he runs Astros Twitter. He listed the Astros' top 2 trade deadline candidates. He says 2 names that are at the top of the Astros trade deadline wish list are pitchers Shane Bieber and outfielder DH Jorge Soler, for people familiar with the process. So we did this with Aaron Wilson the other day. Mm-hmm. How much do we take their reporting seriously? Because Aaron Wilson had the whole D'Amico Ryans gaffe.
Right. I was going to say, the same way we did that for Aaron Wilson, what are the big gaffes of the Schwab?
I don't think I don't know. I think I take him seriously. Honestly,
Joe?
I do. I take Schwab seriously. Did he have some gaffes that I'm not remembering?
No, I'm asking. Joe normally has kind of finger on the pulse of the gaffes.
Gaffes. I think he throws a lot of stuff that doesn't happen.
See, I think it
doesn't mean that it's not true.
But I don't think he does that whenever he throws in per people familiar with the process. I think once he throws that in, he's credible.
I think he's solid.
Yeah, you can have a rumor that is being discussed that doesn't come to fruition.
Yeah, or I would like player A. That doesn't mean he has anybody reporting on it.
Right.
Or he's reporting on it. He says, per people familiar with the process, the 2 names at the top of the Astros wish list are Shane Bieber and Jorge Soler.
Yeah,
I take that seriously.
I think he's solid.
Yeah, I think it's solid. I think I take that as the truth.
I'm saying that in the past, he could have said the Astros have had discussions with said team about said player. It might not come to fruition in a full-blown trade.
Right.
But that's nothing to say that the discussions didn't happen.
Right.
And that's where he keeps his, credibility. So I don't have any reason to doubt him. I think one of the guys is a guy that you really like. I like the other guy a lot. I think he's going to be expensive to go get in Bieber, but I think Bieber is a really nails pitcher that you'd love to have. But I think a lot of teams are going to love to have him. I think there's going to be a lot of competition. There's going to be a lot of money thrown around and a lot of prospects. I don't think the Astros are going to be in that game. The other guy you like, I think, would be a good fit. I just don't know if they have the cojones to make that move in the first year of a 3-year with Abreu.
Well, he's not going to play first.
He's a good DH?
Yeah, he's never played first in his life. So he's not taking Abreu's spot.
Does he play outfield?
Yeah, he's outfield DH.
Would you put him in the outfield?
Yeah, he's probably a better outfielder than Jordan.
You think so?
Probably.
I think Jordan's got a better arm, right?
Yeah, but how much is like the arm to
I'm just saying, if we're
defense?
just comparing all aspects of an outfielder.
But like if you're looking at all the traits of an outfielder, where does the arm come in for a left fielder? Like, it's nice to have, but it's probably 5th on my list. Like, give me speed, give me range, give me a guy who can catch the ball, and then arm.
Okay. I mean, speed in center field, yes, but I think that, Michael Brantley's never had speed.
No.
But he's been a decent outfielder. I think that arm for me is up a notch.
I think for my thing with Soler is that, like, when he was with the Cubs, I felt like he was generally unaware of some of the dimensions in the outfield.
Uh-huh.
And, like, I just feel like he didn't play the cleanest outfield. And my one concern here in Houston would be, and it's funny because they both were former Cubs, but, like, going back to the World Series last year with Schwarber, like, he clearly had no idea what to do with that wall. Now, Soler, if he played here, it might be a little bit different because you would play here, multiple times a week for long stretches. You'd probably figure it out. I kind of question how he would adapt to the wall. Like,
I think the wall's easy, honestly.
I think it's the other quirky cutout.
I think we overcomplicate the wall, but I think the way that you position yourself kind of eliminates the wall. Like, you see the Astros do this a lot, actually. Look to see where the Astros position their left fielder. They position him outside of the perimeter of the wall. They position him to the cutoff. That way it's easy for him to go back to the cutoff, and anything that's hit over your head in left field anyways off the wall is a double. So the Astros position their left fielder all the time to the cutout. So you really don't even have to navigate the wall unless a ball goes to the wall.
The quirky thing about that wall is because of the manual scoreboard, there's all those little creases and edges and things that can take a ball crazy no matter where it hits.
Yeah.
So that's a difficult proposition. When you say the cut, you're saying like the cutoff or the cutout.
The cut where the wall
where it goes
turns into the
deeper
gap.
into the bull,
like
visiting bullpen.
Watch where the Astros position their left fielder. They always position them right around where that cut is at. Now, not that deep, but they play them like where the cut's at. That way, if a ball goes over their head, they can just go straight back and not around the corner. And then anything that's over their head, if they're playing left field anyways, is just off the wall. Now, like fielding it off the wall, that's impossible to practice for.
It's not like Fenway where you can understand the caroms coming off a smooth surface. It's like that whole manual scoreboard is the wall, and so with every little crevice for everywhere, every number fits in the city and the name, that can take a baseball crazy no matter where it hits.
Yeah. So that one's like, that's just unlucky.
Joe, who do you think's a better outfielder, Jordan or Soler?
Probably. I see. I think Alvarez is like really underrated
I do too.
in the outfield. He makes some quality plays out there. In terms of arm strength, like that part of it alone, it's probably really tight. Like Soler's got a gun, and so does Alvarez. Those guys can whip it.
But doesn't this all go back to our Jordan rules? Like,
I would rather have Soler out there than Jordan, just because if one got hurt, you prefer it to not be Jordan.
The interesting part of this is like acquiring Soler, and I'm very intrigued by Soler. Like, he's probably not going to hit for much average. Like, he's going to hit 230, but he's going to have potential to hit 40, 45 home runs over the full season. He gives you power into the lineup. The interesting part about that is you have decisions on what you want to do. Because, like, wherever Jordan wants to play, he's going to play. Left field DH. But then what does it do for Michael Brantley? What does it do for Corey Julks? Is he part of the trade? What does it do for Chas McCormick? Is he part of the trade? So, like, acquiring Soler comes with some really difficult conversations. Might come with Michael Brantley not really maybe ever playing. But if he does come back, he's like a backup because you're not acquiring Soler and then all of a sudden you're just not going to play him. And he can't play first base. So, like, acquiring Soler comes with some very difficult conversations. The Bieber thing, I think Bieber is going to be expensive, but, you know, looking at and doing a deep dive on this, knowing that we're going to talk about it, Bieber's velocity is down, and some people are down on Bieber. Like, people don't think Bieber is the same Shane Bieber that he was. Now, I still think the Guardians are going to ask for what Shane Bieber used to be, which might make it more difficult to trade him. I think that they're still going to treat Shane Bieber as like the Cy Young candidate, a Cy Young guy. Many people around the league don't view him as that, but the Guardians are going to ask for that. If a team's trading for Bieber and they also don't think that he's the same Shane Bieber, they're not going to give the Guardians demands.
it'll be interesting because I think that some teams are going to be more desperate than others as they try and get ready for the playoffs. Will the Rangers try to make another big splash and cover up for a DeGrom? But other teams are going to sit there and not that they're necessarily going to press the panic button, but they're going to be more interested, regardless if his velocity's down a little or not, in doing whatever they need to do to try and get a guy that takes them over the top. I saw him for as much as I don't sit there and tell you that I watch every game that he pitches, but I saw him in a pitcher's duel with Verlander earlier this season. That was a 2-1 game. Verlander gave up an early bomb. Everybody thought that he was just looking like he wasn't himself. He buckled down. He didn't give up another run. Bieber dueled him the entire game. And I'm like, that's the guy you want on the hill in the playoffs, regardless of velocity. He's a pitcher. He's smart. But
I still like Bieber for what it's worth. Now, like, his strikeout rate's down, his walk rate is up, his velocity is down, but like you said, like, his production's still been pretty good. And he's also under club control for another year. Like, if you're telling me the Astros acquired Shane Bieber, I would need to know what for.
Yep.
But he would be one of the 4 best pitchers on this team, even if he's not the same Shane Bieber. I'd be happy with both of these guys. I would need to know the trade, and both of them do come with a little bit of concern. For Soler, well, who you giving up? What does left field look like? What happens with Julks? What happens with Chas McCormick? What's happening with Michael Brantley? And then if you're trading for Shane Bieber, it's, well, again, what does the package look like? It probably is going to be a pretty significant trade package if you're trading for Bieber. And then can he try to revert back to the old Shane Bieber? I'd be excited to see what Murphy and Miller could do with him.
that is the other element I was going to go to is, as much as we used to say it was just Brent Strom, but now we realize when you come to the Astros, you can learn some things, adjust some things, and actually take your game to another level. And the other thing is, if Shane Bieber is your number 3 in the playoffs or your number 4, you're in a pretty damn good spot.
Yeah, you are. And he's got a year of club control, too. So you could maybe figure him out again in the offseason if he's not great this year. But he has a good ERA. The strikeout rate down, walk rate up, velocity down.